I'm making part 2 of chatting with you because I want to tell you a story and I didn't get to it. So basically, when my dad, the what part 1 to understand part 2. And the conversation was so easy, it just, I just told him and he was okay, cool, and that's what I liked. That's what I still like. With my mom telling her that I had a crush, that was a different story, and in a way, it was an embarrassing moment, but also, I'm happy that it happened. I'm not happy that it happened, but I'm happy that it happened. It was a mixture of, I'm happy that it happened because if it didn't, I don't think she would have ever found out. But I'm also not happy because it was an awkward way of, finding out. So basically, we were still in the process of moving in with my sister, and, I would constantly, my dad knew. And I would constantly, begging to go to music class, and then my mom, this one day, she brought up something of, me and my dad went to, the store or something, and to, get, some, I forget, what we were getting, but I remember, going to the store or something on the day, coming back, and, I think my dad was, cooking or doing, and something in the kitchen or something, and I, went up and I asked him, I went, and I go to music class this week, we're gonna be in that area, and he's I'll consider it, I'll think about it. We ended up going, by the way. And literally straight off, my mom brought it up, she went, why does she want to go to music class so bad? And Dad looks at me and is should I tell her? And Mom's shouldn't you tell me what? And I'm no, don't tell her. I literally said, do not tell her. No, don't tell her. And he's she has a crush. And she's, I was annoyed with Dad. I was annoyed with my dad. And for a minute there. Once the moment was over, I was still annoyed for, one more minute. But then I got over it. Only because of the fact that I specifically said, do not tell her. And what does he do? He couldn't have, just made up something she just, going to music class or something. And, he didn't even have to, make up anything. And he, could have just, said something that's not it, but still true. It was a thing. And then she's oh, who is it? And, starts obsessing over it in, a girly girl situation I knew she would. And that's why I, didn't tell her for, so long. And then it was a thing. And then she was I finally, after, a minute, I walked out of the room, and that was the end of it. It ended so, awkwardly and, bad. But, I was literally, so, in a way, embarrassed. And then the thing was, I went, well, at least at the end, finally, when we were, when I found out we were going, I went, well, at least at the end of this, I'm gonna tell him. I'm just gonna tell him, and, today, and then, and, it got worse from here. When we get there, we surprise the teacher first, because that's, always that was a, fun thing, and she got all excited, and then I'm then it was like real. Then he doesn't even show up, and I didn't like. So literally, like I was in the room, and I overheard like the teacher like talking to one of the assistants about how like he was out sick or something, and I'm like, that made me start freaking out in my head, because now I'm like, he's gonna die, even though it was like a cold. Like it's not like it was like a simple like cold, like corona wasn't like discovered then, like it was a thing. And then it was turned into a thing. But then after like then I freaked out about it, and I like freaked out about it for like a good like, wow, that was a long time. Now that I think about it, that was like almost 2 years of me freaking out about it. Well, I wouldn't say like 2 years. I would say like a year and a half. But still, that's a long time. And throughout this, like, I handled it bad. Like, you think I handle it bad now? Like, losing my crush? It was a lot worse back then. Because I literally, like, little things would just set me off. And what I mean by that is, like, my mom would, like, come downstairs because she had, like, a fancy little, like, chair thing that, like, brings her up and down the stairs. And basically, like, it was very, very, like, I handled it badly. And so she would like come down, and she would like make us like start doing like some chores and things, like not even a big deal. And she would like tell me like something, like she would be like, okay, like take your laundry upstairs and like put it away. Like just little things like that. And so I would like do it, and I would like take the laundry and like put it upstairs. I would get upstairs, put it away, and just start in tears. Like, and literally the only thing in my brain, like, all I could think about is, like, I miss him. Like, I don't know when I'm gonna see him again. I miss him. I need to see him. Like, I would, like, start panicking and, like, be in straight tears. And I think my dad knew why it was, or, like, I'm not 100% if he knew, but I think he did. Cause something about it, like, cause he never really like said much to mom, like, literally like about it, like, because eventually after like about like I want to say around like I want to say around 8 or 9 minutes of this, actually a little bit less than that. Sorry, I'm checking something really, really quickly. He like, he would realize, and then he would essentially realize. Like that I was crying, and he would like come, he would like go upstairs, and then and he would like ask me if I was okay, and then he would like go upstairs, ask me if I was okay, and then I would like to be like, yeah, like, and then he would be like, Like, he would, one sec. Okay. But he would like come upstairs into my room, or like go upstairs in my room, and be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I would just be in tears, and then he would be like, I'll just leave you. And like, not like being rude, it's just like he knew that like what I needed was I just need to cry it out. Like, and that's what I needed. And like, as hard as that was for him in a way, I think it was pretty hard. He was like, kind of just ignoring it and just letting me cry it out with what I needed. And so he like would just like walk back downstairs. And then my mom had like this really bad strategy that like never worked. And then finally like my dad would like talk to her for a minute. And it like, because she would be like, she would like scream at me like, because she was all the way downstairs and I was like upstairs and like on the other end of the house. Like, and she not being rude, just so I could like hear it. She would be like, "Molly, come back here," and I'm like, and then and that would like never work. So then I would literally just sit in my room. Sometimes I would walk around or something, just in tears, continuous tears. I would like look in the mirror. I would like talk to myself like, I somehow, some way we're gonna like either like we're gonna get back to him or like something's gonna happen. Like it's gonna be fine. Like I would just talk to myself in the mirror about how much I miss him, and I would like get it out of my system, and then this would like go on for like the longest it ever went on, because I never really kept track. Like I think like it went on for like almost 20 minutes one day, and it was like in a way like not silent crying, but like also not like screaming, like throwing a fit. It was like an in between, like in between zone. And then and it became a thing. Then then it became like a thing, and so like it got to where if it started happening continuously, because there was a time where like I could like I kind of like realized I would see that like, oh wait, this is getting bad. Because there would be times when it had been a while since I seen him, where it would happen like almost every day in a row. Like I almost every day for like a week straight, sometimes longer. Or and I would try to like, bring up like going to music class then, but it was a thing. And so it was like a thing. And so, um, knowing that like it just kind of was hard. I handled it bad, and I don't really. And my dad would always like when soon as my mom would say like, "Well, we come back and like you'll feel better after you vacuum," or something. My dad would like. I talk to her and be like, "No, she needs to be left alone. Like she needs to just cry it out. Like get it out of her system." Like I talked to her about it. Then, but like it was a thing, and then it was just like a really bad thing, and then at one point it got really bad too. And finally I said something. It was actually around the day before Valentine's Day. And that's when this story started. Where it was happening so much in a row, and I think after my dad kind of realized that was happening, and then I think that around this timing is when he realized oh, why I was crying almost every single day, what was setting me off. I think he realized that because right afterwards, or this one day, during a week where it was happening a lot, and we were planning to be in the area that Wednesday, and because this had kind of went on from the Wednesday before up to this was Tuesday, I think it was, and I brought it up to I went hey, can we go to music class? And the thing was that the last time I went, I didn't even stay for the whole thing. I had to go and stuff. But anyways, I think that's when it when it hit him and he not really hit him, but I mean that as an expression, but when he realized oh wait, she misses him. Then it was and he I will talk about it and stuff. And then I got in the car the next morning not knowing, and then he's we're gonna go, and I lost my mind with that excitement in the car, and then we went, and then we got there, and at first we're hoping at this point it had been 2 years, and actually the time before, or the music class teacher straight up said, she was she said, my crush is me. And he started, she didn't say, she was I'm not saying my crush is me. And he should be sad that he missed you. And I'm what did he say about me? Does he have a crush on me too? Freaking out in my head, what did he say? I need to know. I never did find out. I seriously should have said something there. I should have just straight up asked her, And so, when we got there, and she actually, they were doing, a little kids class thing, and she asked if I wanted to join, and I'm no. And then I'm just waiting in the waiting room, because I was there to find my crush. And then, basically, then all of a sudden, I saw out the window, I'm he's here. And then he walks in, comes over to me, and sits down next to, because the chair next to me and my dad, and was empty, and he sits down. There's a couple other, there's one other person in the waiting room, and he just started talking haven't seen you in a while and stuff, and then just started talking, and it was the fact that he literally had one of his friends there in the room, and he completely ignored them and just came straight over to me. I literally almost, not joking, I almost fell over then. And I'm this I'm seeing him. This is incredible. And then it was a thing. And then then someone else showed up, and then he said hi to them. And that was kind of it was a thing in the story I told a million times. Peace out.